Hello, good evening, and welcome to Cafdil Healthcare on Cafdil TV. My name is Kojo Arthur, and let me say official part because this tonight is the first time of meeting you in this 2026, and let me use this opportunity to also thank my producer for sitting in on my behalf when I was away. And tonight, what we're going to discuss is very, very important that always we normally go through, but we don't know that this is the problem we are facing. Let me remind you that tonight we are live on Facebook, Cafdil Cape Coast, and YouTube, Cafdil EDU. But before I introduce my guest, I would want you to watch this short video about what we are going to discuss tonight. When we come back, we'll start talking. Stay tuned.
You know what anxiety feels like. We all do. Everyone experiences anxiety in some way or another. It's something that connects all of us together. Why we feel anxiety and what it really is, that may surprise you. Without anxiety, we'd all be in serious trouble. As soon as your brain senses you're in danger, a little piece of it, called the amygdala, kicks in. It gets your body ready to react. That could mean fight, run away, or shut down. It's called the fight, flight, or freeze response. This reaction goes back millions of years to our distant animal ancestors. Animals whose amygdalae were more sensitive to danger were more likely to stay alive and off the menu. Over millions of generations, this developed into the system we all know as anxiety. So you see, anxiety itself is not all bad. But when there's no immediate life or death threat, and your amygdala keeps telling your body that you're in danger, that's when anxiety becomes a problem. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference between getting eaten and public speaking or failing a test. Human society has only existed for a relatively short time. It's messy and complicated and confusing, and our amygdalae just haven't had time to catch up. So sometimes, when we're in uncomfortable situations, our brains misread the risk and overreact. Our hearts beat faster and we breathe heavily, pulling more oxygen into our bodies. The muscles in our arms and legs tense up and fill with blood. Our skin perspires to cool us down. This would all be great if we needed to fight or run, but instead, we just feel tense and sweaty. Sometimes our minds go blank and we feel like we can't move or talk. That would be great if we needed to hide. Instead, we just feel stuck. When things trigger our anxiety, sometimes we try to avoid them, like our ancestors avoiding a predator. But that can cause problems when those triggers are important parts of life, like going to school or meeting new people, things that won't just give up and go away. So how does knowing all this help? Well, it starts with remembering what's really going on. There's nothing physically wrong with you. It's just your amygdala trying to tell you it thinks you're in danger, even if it gets confused about how much danger you're really in. Understanding why we feel anxiety is an important step in learning to manage it.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Cafdil Healthcare on Cafdil TV. And my name is Kojo Arthur. Tonight I'm here with Jessie Larry Kobina. Mentioning Jessie, you might think it's a lady. No, Jessie is Jessie Larry Kobina. And Helen Soa and Dave Davis. They are all psychologists from Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Official part. This is the first time of meeting you.
From
Right? 2026. Yeah. All right. So tonight we're talking about, we're going to delve into what we called anxiety. So we're going to talk about anxiety. We're going to know what really anxiety is. But before that, let me ask: is anxiety itself, is it a bad thing or is it a good thing?
Okay, first of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity
Usually when we are called upon, we want to be in a hurry to come to this place, and because they be a pede eche and zama yusha kakrama community no biara so to ote asam nase. Anxiety no the question is anxiety a bad thing? Anxiety is a form of either BBR or alerting whenever something is about to happen. So looking at anxiety, you see that it is not a DBI or a bad. Because for instance, ABI in your brain and eroko baby, but eroko na if you there, BBI you soon you cannot see anything. The anxiety will make you alert. Obama there, this place, as I am passing through this place, I'm supposed to do what? Be very careful. So in case of anything, it means I am already alert. Then I can be able to run, be in the flight mode, and then move. So anxiety, it is not bad. But then anxiety becomes a problem when you're there. Oh, okay, so there is no particular threat at that particular moment. But then all of a sudden, you are there. That moment, no, feel it there, BC. But then social environment, so everyone is calm, everyone is okay. There is nothing happening. So why is this person there? Original I there now commit to be there. This person is not feeling there. The environment is safe. So anxiety itself is just worry. But then when the worry becomes extreme or it becomes too much now, anxiety because what happens is, or say in daily activities, sometimes small things being prior to me and even today, imagine there you are a health worker, a nurse, for instance, and then you go to the workplace, and then because you are anxious and all that, you are not able to concentrate on your work. And imagine, let's say at that particular moment, there is a patient that is supposed to receive maybe 2 dosages of AEB. Now I come and nipa no be 8. Ehwa abasam no besi. O see them now che causes some form of damage at where you are nekra. So anxiety itself no, it is worry. But worry no call bro do them na not start the all whole life now. On normal or bad. But on says it was a way to check us as normal people there. This is about to happen. You are supposed to be careful. You are supposed to do this. So yes, that's basically what.
So now let's see what really anxiety is and how different is it from normal worry in everyday life.
Okay, so as I said earlier on, anxiety is worry, but then when the worry becomes extreme, even there was too much of everything is bad. Into worry now and call there or checking. If we are going to this place, this worry is going to tell us there, oh, don't go here. If you are going to this place, this worry is going to tell us there, oh, do not do this now. Then worry is why am I as an alcohol into alcohol now in a particular time on see there or you human. Then still this thing is working. It's on no oil then of course so much problem. My main fact your normal cars here you use it for example. If you are driving and then you are about to take, let's say, a right turn. A show indicator there. Oh, okay, I'm moving to this side. But then take it for instance there, and I'm highway then all of a sudden the traffic starts to malfunction. Or the director. Even there, traffic now is waiting. They'll become a little bit confused as to what is going on. And then this can cause a whole lot of accidents and then things. So the worry, that is what happened. Into as a the difference between our normal worry and then and then anxiety is worry is normal. It's usually short-term. On those is some small time. Those ones they usually have triggers. When I say triggers, me patch the BB or prompt number. Osi. It's worry na day. Mo sisiana makoto brand new iPhone be there. Vows there be them as a come my girlfriend. Na mo ho the ma me unde obedi nansa bo. Phone na phone na to phone na wa pay. And at that moment, you become worried that, oh, gift here, my care don't come, make on Mizake, Kakri, honestly, say, problem. So you become worried. So there's a trigger at that moment. So that one is normal, and then usually a short term, from few minutes or a few hours, be behind and okay. But with the anxiety, it's consistent, usually is, and then we have this we are offering a DSM-5. Is a diagnose the mental health issues na zama kakre. What's say in order for you to be able to diagnose there, okay, so this particular thing is anxiety now, or there for maybe 6 months. And then it's supposed to be frequent to either otasisi time or otasisi. And then you're also supposed to see a few physical symptoms like that. But then you can, I don't say canana near machine. BBN seems so I don't say canana near machine. But sometimes you know, either not come out or boom, pum 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 pum. You are bra ubian can do shade in your so. And this person will be there and then sweating and all things. So this is how we will be able to differentiate between what we call anxiety and then the normal worry that we go through whenever there is a trigger.
Oh, okay. Jesse, tell us some of the examples of this anxiety that we're talking about for viewers to also know, indeed, when they are going through or when they see those things, it means they are anxious.
So let's take a situation. I am from the youth, we school, okay, we university, why in the national service area, what started the origin A. Necessarily maybe service in the same Juma and Bay. Then because of that, the person starts to, think a lot about it, worst case scenarios, and then it may manifest physically even as symptoms such as heart palpitations. Someone behind then or fast. Besides one near machine, no feel discomfort when you feel one or sweat. But I see in this case, there is no evidence that only in Yejuma. Maybe in previous times they've said that Tibian University, but on the time there's not been such evidence. But now being perceiving as a threat. This is a various community national services and we are saying and so I'm not dreaming more or live in the future. Instead of living in the now, not dreaming more in the future. So that is one example of anxiety, to know that somebody is going through anxiety. There's a perceived threat. So unlike worry where the threat is actually real, some okay the iPhone or iPhone now before, of course that threat is immediate, so it is real. But anxiety is not a perceived threat. It's what you know, this can be a problem, so let me find solutions. And because we are not able to find solutions, because of course we can't live in the future, that is where we start to experience anxiety, which affects us physically, emotionally, and even psychologically.
So which means if you don't perceive anything, there's nothing like anxiety.
Well, so inherently we have anxiety. We all have anxiety, okay? So just that the anxiety should be optimal. So if it's optimal, I mean it should be moderate for you to function. Yes, so there should always be perceived something. Since I'm saying if I have an exams tomorrow, that perceived exams I am but I know you're good. As I see, but so was sure no may dysfunctional. So not instead of actually acting on today be and be a feel don't need me. In case you're optimal and Koboka crochet human, but also instead of no I paralyzed by worst case scenarios.
All right, Helen, Dave made mention of some triggers or causes of anxiety. Tell us what actually causes those anxiety among Ghanaians and how do they actually affect individuals and certainly families as well.
Okay, so some of the causes can be, like Jesse said, he made mention of the fact that a youth can be done with his national service and going to look for a job, but he doesn't get one. So the thought of unemployment somehow makes the person dysfunctional, unable to do anything. So unemployment can make someone get anxious, get anxiety. Aside unemployment, too, some marital issues can also cause for individuals to be anxious. At some point, ladies are expected, in our Ghanaian context, ladies are expected
at what age?
At some age.
What age?
25. Yes, normal. 25. And
are you 25?
Not yet.
Okay.
We are.
Continue.
So at that age, you are expected that you should be married or at least preparing to get married. So when you are not, some people at that age don't even have anybody whom they can call their boyfriend or their spouse or anything, but then so because of that reason they get anxious. So at this age, I'm 25 or I'm 26, 27, I'm closing in on 30. How would I ever get someone who would marry me? So that can also make them anxious. Even in the marital home, some people can get a spouse that is always physically violent with them, abuses them. That also makes them anxious in their marriage. Aside the physical abuse, violent, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, they find different ways to make the person feel low in himself or herself. So the person is always anxious about their marriage, and you see when the person is just there, then they get uneasy, restless, scared, always afraid, and that health issues can also cause for an individual to be anxious. For instance, someone has been diagnosed with a chronic illness or a terminal illness, and they are worried about how that illness will go. But most of the time, that illness particularly may not affect the person too much to lead to death, but because the person is always worried about it, certain stress enters inside and makes the person, the lifespan even reduces because the person is very worried and scared about it. So, yes.
So you made mention of unemployment,
Yes.
marital issues.
Yes.
What about financial issues?
Financial issues is also there. Yeah, so normal student life, there is no money on campus, you can't
But
get...
is it only students?
Oh no, not only students. Even in the home, the grown-ups face
if you don't
it.
have money.
When you don't have money, people don't even want to talk to you. You feel like people don't want to talk. People don't invite you out because you don't have money. That is the notion around it. So.
Oh,
that
but
can
you now, if
also-
you don't have money and they invite you for a function, you don't think you will go, because especially when you a function that when you go, you're going to pay or contribute something.
Donate something.
You wouldn't even feel comfortable to
Yes.
to go.
Exactly.
That's true.
Okay. And situation in Ghana is very, very difficult. So unemployment, marital issues,
Health
financial
crisis.
issues, even relationships.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And the health.
But relationships, normally it is the ladies, they go through that anxiety. For men, they said at age 60 you can even get married. But for women, they put pressure on you. So prepare for your pressure. All right, so Dave, how does it show itself physically or behaviorally or sometimes, especially among the adults in Ghana?
Okay, so I think we've mentioned a few as we started, and some of the things you can see as the heart palpitation, where you realize that you pan na kuma aide orbo gidi gidi gidi. Ehun eberjin dey bia walk 100 meters bi na obe bet na osisi but uncle baby. The person is just sitting there. There's nothing going on. Ehun there na nkotent no holding then aide that kind of reaction now come on body. And then the bians work come deep went see 1 year headache, they went to pound every day. What's more for para 3 still then this person will be there. They will be sweating, you see them sweating anyhow. On your so they are just there. But then you see so many physical changes that are not supposed to be there. You are supposed to do something before these things are supposed to be there. But then these things are there without any trigger, without nothing. And yeah, they'll be there, they'll be able to that like so physically you see that this person is anxious, even they be an alert, there's something is coming. They are always every time they are alert to see that something is happening, something is about to happen. So yeah, the physical things that we are able to see. In Zamana, you two men, then you one or your physical side, and a few na ma mention also the amount.
What I mean, our behavior aspects.
And then behaviorally, no, you're there. As some they say, what do we do? It's no, you behave then. So sometimes, people who are anxious, they find it a little bit difficult to be able to be around people. It's them you people hande na wako na wakashe kona bim na wache no ho nzama record posto I don't share that on ye be them. And then what makes it a little bit off is you could actually see someone who was very, very energetic, the life of the party. That means you pay SMBC, pay him dog can't be. The problem or show baby. He is over here, he is over there, he is everywhere. But all of a sudden, this person will start there or to change some side BD. Yeah, that could be one. So they isolate themselves from the people around them. Sometimes too, it's difficult for them to be able to concentrate on one thing. Into them, you pay him there, what class, and they way. Now I've been a par, but all of a sudden, they, oh man, 1+1, and I be, but you know who the and sana we but then those around him know say, oh, this is actually something that is very easy or very small craft for this person. So what is happening? So they are unable to concentrate as well, and then they are also not able to do their daily activities. Every time they are BBOC the way daily no. So sometimes they develop a few things like hoarding disorders and all those things. About kone dem mpebo hu de some odidi mpo na odoko robo no mpo a de on feel there obenti odidi we are not that share no mpase oye you are not that to hade oye ntebe kone dem entum mbo ya abo no mpo because wa pack room we load exactly we load the BBI nti behaviorally ne they sometimes move away from what people term as normal. Yes, so those are some of the behaviors that you can see from them.
Let me give you a scenario. So, for example, if you are in a church, a particular church, but like you said, you're energetic, you do a lot of things, but maybe church members begin to, why is it every day or anything, it is you, every day it is you, and that kind of thing. Then you think about, no, so why don't I withdraw myself? So that, because these people are talking about me too much, every day, this, every day, so you begin to withdraw yourself from certain activities. Can we say that that person is also anxious?
Oh, no, because this is not something that is actually disrupting their daily living or their way of life. You acquire the decision on Lancasa, we take there, the Maziao, Wakasa Mondo, me, one for one anti. Honestly, you plan work there, oh, I won't do it again, you can just take it. But then if Oyawangasana is out there, then usually when people are anxious, one agent you do, they don't usually know. One hour around them, no way out. But then they will feel like, everything is okay, everything is not. What are people talking about? You can even confront them there. Jesse, me and then Nancy, oh yeah, tired, tired. Is everything okay? Jesse will ask me, what are you talking about? Everything is normal. I've not done anything. Like, this is how I was. Nothing has happened. So usually, with the example now, honestly, people are just taking their decision there. Oh, okay, let me avoid this thing. So I will, because I work among some other
activities, you see him or her being isolated and stuff. And I am asking this because you said when they are anxious,
yes,
they isolate themselves from the normal activity and stuff. That is why I asked this question.
Okay,
so if the person decides, just as you say, it's his decision.
Yes.
If the person decides to do that, to do this one or leave whatever he's doing and isolate him or herself.
So just like you said, it's his decision. He decided to do it that way. And then yes, I mentioned the DSM-5 standing as the diagnostic manual for use people. So if maybe you look through all these things that the person is doing, and then when they be on your new nankasana decision, and then you look through the DSM-5, and then when this person falls through this thing, and that's where you can tell me as or yeah anxiety, you know. But then if it's that person's normal decision, I know that we can tell that, oh, okay, so this person nankasana I then Nancy on pedo be them, and then people will know, say, okay, so this is why this person is doing this, so that one will not fall under the anxiety.
So the DSM-5, is it a questionnaire? Is it just like a questionnaire?
It's a diagnostic statistical manual for mental disorders. Yes. So it's like a normal book that you look through, and then it shows you how you are going to be able to do this. So in fact, the anxiety, for instance, they mention a few things that has to do with the duration, and then the physical side, and then its effectiveness. So the excessiveness will do with the part that it has to be something that you cannot control. Either wabro wodo. You know why and then the duration side, they say it's supposed to be 6 months. So they here for 6 months. And then the physical side, no, the physical symptoms that we mentioned, I hope side no bakakoto. Now tomorrow show idea those things. So if you see all these things in that person, that is where we can say the person is anxious or going through this anxiety.
Which means before you can conclude that the person is anxious, it means you may have gone through a lot of checks before you can conclude.
Exactly. You can't just get up one day and say, I didn't pay your tuition or anxiety. Yes.
Yes, we all belong to different culture and beliefs and so on and so forth, even societal attitudes and stuff. I want to know how those beliefs and attitude in Ghana influence how people understand or express or even hide anxiety.
Okay, so thank you for the question. So if you have countries like Ghana, most things are attributed to spirituality. So sometimes it be or go through the anxiety, cannot honey mission. Bibi keke bi piano no wetin fifira ayo many times ne boy de bi no le yen nti on fa nko psychologist wo the first point of a direction here suffer oboko ne suffer is how to not know I could abansam na oma we mission and because of that the appropriate help no the yen yes, Ghana so meaningful. We are always told to be strong about everything. Sometimes people feel anxious about something. Whilst anxiety or normal, you can do to be a. People so that Baba catching Yanko being because I catch and also the man is the Williams where we on ye be forget. It's because of that in the other or strong into them no those is for the females, fortunately for them, sometimes the society is more kinder to them. To be said go through anxiety or to me share compared to any main phone.
The main food will feed the two is a bamboo. A drawing to be no. Oh, okay. But a lot of people also, is that the reason why they hide? The men hide.
So, yes. So, most times people may be embarrassed about what they may even be feeling anxious about. Let's say I'm here right now, okay, and I'm asking myself, hey, psychologist, you may so sometimes what's I or what, like Ghana, and a lot of people don't understand it. Then I start to do worst case scenarios in my mind. Maybe I may meet Dave. I say, it's there, why it turns. Oh, yeah, baby, I may worry. Because me feel that I'm catching back that the way so your issue. Boy, but why do you to because of that, since we hide, because sometimes you may feel embarrassed about it, or you may not even have the words to describe it, or because they are spiritualized baby and if you are back or spiritual problem and then maybe he's being even possessed or something.
But wouldn't you consider that response to be an encouragement? Or you soon I worry, but what do you feel? Can't you turn it to be an encouragement so that you can, do your daily whatever activities?
Yes, and sometimes now they need to be any framework, okay? You be able to my friend or your encouragement, but Dr. Nyanko Academy, no one normalizers, but you will be so what can some validator almost feel that joy and question or today on your words feeling like that, okay? It's not today, it makes the person also feel like he or she there's something they are wrong to feel that way. And next time they may not open up. Friend be my sister Helen Abana Wabaka Sembia Cham. The just the mass yoma modern. Now okay now I say the Helen enjoy on Sembia. Maybe to Dave would have said, okay, maybe when I look at it logically, well, indeed, it doesn't make sense. But maybe Helen, who is more in tune with me emotions, but find there, my boss, some nego. It's not your back channel, they're not your next time said the my she or ba. Or tell me catch a beam for back on here, maybe I'm soon being put on only yamity. The mama man come on to Namu fan shamonti. We have to be mindful of that. I'm there to be on the safe side and validate first before you correct anyone, so that the person feels understood.
All right, Helen, we are Ghanaians, and we know we're able to cope certain issues, especially like if you want to hide, it means you are coping.
Yes, it's a way of coping.
But we know some are helpful and some are unhelpful. So tell us, what are those common ways that you and I as Ghanaians cope with this anxiety, which are, like I said, some helpful, some unhelpful?
Okay, so for some of the unhelpful ways, like Jesse mentioned, the person, instead of voicing it out, they keep it to themselves. They shut everybody out. They just want to be left alone. And humans are social beings. Nobody is an island. So when you keep things to yourself, when you do your stuff alone, you will not get the help that you need. You will just be there on your own and there will be no help for you. So it is an unhelpful way of coping, because as the problem is there, we go by the saying, a problem shared is half. So when you don't say it, you keep it to yourself, you only be adding more burden to yourself. You only be stressing yourself more. So keeping it to yourself is an unhelpful way. Some people too, rather than keeping it to yourself, they would rather take in alcohol. Yeah, they go and drink a lot so that the feelings that they are feeling will be suppressed by the alcohol, and that is also not good, because intake of alcohol, we know that it also destroys some of our body systems and it makes us sick. So excessive intake of alcohol too is not good, but then they use that to cope because they feel like it is something that can help them, rather than going to share it with someone and then the person will just throw aside whatever.
Even not even throw aside, but people think, okay, if I share my problem with you, you will hear. When you hear, you hear.
Someone else will hear.
Because of that, observation no more.
If you can ask them, I don't know, on the name, so you need free. And I think that is also one. And which is unhelpful. What are the helpful ones?
The helpful ways, so we can get someone whom we can speak to. We all have our friends, people whom we trust, probably a family member or a friend whom we can speak to. And if you feel like you are unable to speak to such people, that is when the professional help come in. So you seek out professionals in the psychological field whom you think that you can speak to them and then they will help you with it. And one thing with the psychology field is that whatever you share with them is meant for you and whomever you are speaking to, the professional you are speaking to. It doesn't go outside the both of you. Yes. So you are speaking to the person in confidence and then the person is keeping it for you. Aside that, too, as Ghanaians, we also have our own way of coping, which is helpful. So we indulge in prayer. Yeah. So like Jesse mentioned, he said that we go to church and all that. Yes, people usually think that some of these disorders are from the spirit, are spiritual, but then another way, if you think it's spiritual, you can also pray about it, and that gives you some sort of assurance that you are not alone and you are being held by some greater being.
So if you cope and you don't pray about it too, which I just give me one. Even if you don't discuss, you cope. It is not going to disturb you. One thing
that
if you cope, it will not disturb you.
By just using that.
Yes, it will be helpful.
You see, there is no one way of solving a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. We have different ways of solving a particular problem. So you can't just use one method to help you. But then there are people who think that, okay, I'm very conversant with this behavior, or I'm very okay doing this. So for instance, the prayer I mentioned, some people would be like, I'm very okay praying, rather than going to talk to someone, seeking professional help, or even getting involved in taking alcohol. I feel comfortable praying, and I know that whichever God or deity I'm praying to hears me, and that is some sort of validity that the person gets and is able to feel okay and assured that whatever situation is going through, there is always going to be help or freedom at the end. Yes.
All right. I now believe that you stayed in Nigeria small, comfortable. you came on. You're still watching Cafdil Healthcare on Cafdil Television. We're discussing anxiety. We're going for a short break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion. Stay with us.
You know what anxiety feels like. We all do. Everyone experiences anxiety in some way or another. It's something that connects all of us together. Why we feel anxiety and what it really is, that may surprise you. Without anxiety, we'd all be in serious trouble. As soon as your brain senses you're in danger, a little piece of it, called the amygdala, kicks in. It gets your body ready to react. That could mean fight, run away, or shut down. It's called the fight, flight, or freeze response. This reaction goes back millions of years to our distant animal ancestors. Animals whose amygdalae were more sensitive to danger were more likely to stay alive and off the menu. Over millions of generations, this developed into the system we all know as anxiety. So you see, anxiety itself is not all bad. But when there's no immediate life or death threat, and your amygdala keeps telling your body that you're in danger, that's when anxiety becomes a problem. Your amygdala doesn't know the difference between getting eaten and public speaking or failing a test. Human society has only existed for a relatively short time. It's messy and complicated and confusing, and our amygdalae just haven't had time to catch up. So sometimes, when we're in uncomfortable situations, our brains misread the risk and overreact. Our hearts beat faster and we breathe heavily, pulling more oxygen into our bodies. The muscles in our arms and legs tense up and fill with blood. Our skin perspires to cool us down. This would all be great if we needed to fight or run, but instead, we just feel tense and sweaty. Sometimes our minds go blank and we feel like we can't move or talk. That would be great if we needed to hide. Instead, we just feel stuck. When things trigger our anxiety, sometimes we try to avoid them, like our ancestors avoiding a predator. But that can cause problems when those triggers are important parts of life, like going to school or meeting new people, things that won't just give up and go away. So how does knowing all this help? Well, it starts with remembering what's really going on. There's nothing physically wrong with you. It's just your amygdala trying to tell you it thinks you're in danger, even if it gets confused about how much danger you're really in. Understanding why we feel anxiety is an important step in learning to manage it.
Welcome back. This is Cafdil Healthcare on Cafdil TV, and our discussion is anxiety. And I am sure that you've heard a lot, and you know whether you are anxious or not. For now, you know what you are going through. Dave, I want to know, when does this anxiety become mental health condition that requires professional support?
Okay. So, when you realize that at this point in time, I am unable to contain this thing that I'm going through anymore, that is where you are supposed to go to see a professional and then let them know, say, okay, so I did not come I them baby them into when I'm born. But what I would say is usually early detection is the best. When you there, I'm gonna so once and I can if you I'd say why it's in Kakribina, and that is where you're supposed to at least try and then run, and because every form of disorder or disease or anything, the moment there is early detection, the treatment is very, very good for it, and the prevention crapple. So it's best if symptoms Kakribina penny you start seeking for help. Amma at now be another one when could do baby I see as the to me and get be from you. But then if you do not come early to, when you realize that I at this point I cannot take it any longer. Ma try one shada one kopa pe bia me name nyanko bi akasa me na kasa maka che kweku na amate all of a sudden assemblyman no sat sisia wonyema dan topic of the community. Ono na this is how there wa bro wodo sisia you cannot take it any longer. That is where you run. That is if you do not follow the early detection rule.
So when it get to that point, which means it attend to mental health issues.
Exactly.
Where you can't take it any
longer.
Where
you cannot take it any longer.
But would you realize it?
Yes, you would not, as we said earlier, you would not realize it. But then, even when the people around you will start saying it. Obi o be catch your debia, onye ge obi o na say onye ni jeya, o chede ge ono no problem. But onye be 3 girls o na win na ojan because of fear. Then you start realizing that I there problem bi o mo ho. So bo hun there na the man kufia ba o abaka che o there you are behaving in this particular way. I there Nancy and Shada you who be them. I say oh I'm okay. I'm on Swaba, Wabaka, the same thing. Then even there more people are coming. At that point you start to get a bit of idea self-realization. Something is actually going on. So from then you start realizing that oh okay this is what is going on. So let me just go and see a professional. And then as Helen said, seeing a professional, they are bound by rules and a lot of things.
Most of the women so far would say confession.
Exactly. And you won't kasa, everything is confidential. You even be reminded so many times that as you are coming here, no, everything we see is between us. Some of the colleagues now put you capture them information between us or between our na way in. The only time my information boko out in there say one kasa na pedo be fufruta on the information boko out. But the moment I carry them as me pedo be out, the confidential rule is the confidentiality rule is there. Exactly.
So when it happens like that, certainly you would need support from families, from friends, from community. So I want you to tell us what kind of or role do these people play in supporting people who struggle with anxiety.
Okay, so let me start with the community. Okay, so the community can organize training and awareness programs so that even the individuals themselves going through the anxiety can recognize the symptoms and be more mindful and self-aware, so that if I'm here and because of once upon a time answering a question in class, the teachers come go modenti onam dementi mpedama can answer them musro them mama sada obekekeme go mod, even if it's a different teacher. Then I know that okay, so this means because of that I'm feeling anxious, because anytime Pedro me ask a question, Mark must start to do fast. So creating that awareness can help us to be able to come out and seek professional help. Family, so mobile to my there as having relatives with these issues, and we can hold validation for them, space for them, listen to them without judgment. You enforce one. Oh, maybe they record them to be able. Do you want to talk about this? Oh, maybe no. Just relax for them. Just hold space, and when I say hold space, I mean sometimes just sitting down with somebody and letting them know you are there for them gives them the opportunity for them to open up to. Either echo by force, no. And maybe an cast some na start the solution, no. But or start to open up. Oh, okay, this is hard, and I probably would be feeling the same if I was in your situation. What are some of the ways you think we can help you? Now, come up with ways. Then you refer them to a professional if they need be.
All right. Okay. So what about the friends?
So the friends too. Yes. So the community training programs will help the friends to also be aware. So when we see our friends in distress, we don't just say, hey, that's it, they Dave, we share for boys on board. Then let us try and go home and see what is going on with him. If maybe we can also find a way to help him out. Or if possible, someone can be receptive to it. Can your mental health professional be on behalf of therapy? I'm a professional. This is something we can also do to support them.
Helen, if you are, I'm very sure that if you are going through this anxiety and it is physical, a lot of people can see stigmatization becomes the I don't know, the talk of the day. A lot of people will stigmatize you and so on and so forth. And how then do we reduce that stigma and encourage open conversation about anxiety in Ghana? Because Ghanaians, yes, someday are slow. Forget it.
Yes, so as Jesse mentioned earlier, we have to make awareness, public awareness on anxiety, that it is not something that you should be afraid of, or you should distance yourself from the person. In doing that, in stigmatizing the person, making the person, separating yourself from the person, it makes the person feel alone. It makes the person feel like as if it's not worth it. It's not worth living in this life, since he doesn't have any friends anymore. Now everybody is going away from him. They are laughing at him. Make the person feel embarrassed and alone. So you have to let the individual know. You have to let individuals know more about this thing, the anxiety. You have to educate people on it. We use most people are encouraged by churches, so we can turn to our churches, to the church leaders, to speak on it, educate them about what anxiety is, and they in turn can speak to their congregation or their various people about what anxiety is, so that the world will know more about anxiety, and rather than segregating from them or going away from them, they are able to bring them closer. They are able to encourage them and motivate them to seek help, or even speak with people whom they can trust.
Okay. But again, someone going through this, certainly productivity slow. So I want you to also educate us on how the anxiety affects the productivity. For relationship, you've said it, apart from that, and overall well-being in Ghanaian communities, productivity, how does it affect it?
So when an individual is going through this anxiety, they lack the very motivation to do things as they used to. And Dave mentioned that they are almost often afraid. To the least thing you do to them, then they get scared. So because of that, they don't want to be around people, and so this would affect productivity, because if, say for instance, a person is working, if that person doesn't come to work, definitely what he's supposed to do would not be done, and then it would affect the whole organization as a whole. So that can also affect, that can also be a part of it.
All right. Would you want to add something?
So just like she said, to add to it, somebody who is anxious, his or her mind is constantly running scenarios, racing thoughts, one thought after the other. So it means concentration is low. So you give this person a task to do. This person will sit down, a task that could have taken him 5 minutes in the past, you use 30 minutes to do the task. Or you can have a scenario to where you go to work, and like she said, maybe you have a very scary boss. You go to work. When she even gives you something to do, the slightest thing, you are afraid. So in trying not to make a mistake, you make a mistake. Because it's like you can't relax and do what you are supposed to do. Or sometimes even avoidance. So they go to work. Oh, is there a task they can do? They will not ask, because because of their anxiety, they are inward. So they will withdraw, and instead of the task they are supposed to do, they will be somewhere just being alone, and that can also reduce productivity overall for the organization. Or even sometimes you can have situations to where they overwork. They will do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you said they've done nothing. So they are always busy, but for no proper reason. So, where is Jesse today? Oh, I saw him. I think he was around the scanner. I'm doing something, but he's not doing anything. So instead of doing the actual work he's supposed to do, he'll be going around doing things just to get his mind off things.
But Dave, when someone is anxious, we normally say, "Oh, this is just overthinking. It's just overthinking and stuff." Educates us more on the difference between overthinking and anxiety.
Okay. So the difference between the overthinking and then anxiety, I think, as we started, we said some few things on them, and the overthinking is usually short-timed, and then there's usually a trigger for it. So something just happened, I'll be thinking of it, say, them adi obey it. So I'll just be thinking. It's just going to be fine. Is this going to be all right? Maybe at the end of the day, be about to do fine. So I'm just overthinking. And then usually there is a problem at that side. I think Jesse mentioned something like that. There is a problem at that side. But with the anxiety, most of the time, usually there's nothing over there. The problem behind you, but that person will start there or create a scenarios. What if? Nadi over then? Nadi oh yeah. But then in actual reality, there's nothing going on. There's no tangible reason. There's no physical presence over there. Okay, so this is happening, so you are supposed to react. The cause and effects. This is happening, so you are supposed to do this. Actually, usually know that there is no BBR or the so it's more like we are playing those kind of there. This might happen. This might happen. A bit today. You find the Ukronuman at say Yarbabia also a dangerous pa and one water when you also. Oh, yeah, one shada won't recover Papa with them. Na alcohol hospital na doctor catch or the bia also in bia they will start playing na sister mo call hospital them man say me see them man di in time so many bia so what's that meanwhile doctor no show prognosis or show bia so there this person has a very high chance of recovering, but I want to start today. It's a dead be your own before I say moon probation, I want to start the passive and some of them as emotional vicinity, another vicinity. So that's the difference between.
Thinking is the reality, and anxiety is perception.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you have any treatment options in Ghana for this anxiety?
Anxiety. Yes. So mental health professionals, the psychologists have been trained in the evidence-based therapies that help individuals. They equip individuals with strategies and healthier coping mechanisms against anxiety. Yes.
Okay. So our time is drawing closer. In 1 minute, I want to all of you, not us. I mean, the three of you to give us some message that you want Ghanaians to know about anxiety.
Okay. So usually society is usually determines what is right and then what is wrong. So how we treat a particular thing is going to either be a normal norm that is going to happen. So I would actually encourage society there when people are going through this kind of state. This is nothing. We don't be about to anxiety no ye them yen painful what's the year is kafu and yerba on yes kafu yerba or yazo tumuna or two obia. So whenever someone is going through this anxious state, the person is going through this anxiety and all those things now, try to support them and then help them in every possible way that you can. Saying to Mumpa, you can also request the person you recommend for the person to see a professional to help them in this field. Right. Exactly.
Yes.
And see, kakra musumaka kahwenye. Those of us who are going through anxiety, you will feel into mankasa. I'm trying to tell you guys today that anxiety is a normal human response or to biara. Design the aya no kosora, an ability to cope in wires. So I'm encouraging you all out there that say, well, situation I want to be dama, don't be afraid to speak up. Or there are mental health professionals who are hospitals CP. So what region there one na baby etin. Say counseling pona and baby them being and watch up. Speak to a trusted friend or a colleague and let them refer you to somebody who can help you. And this problem people go through this and come out, and I believe everybody too can come out with the right coping strategies and treatments.
All right, thank you to Helen.
So, just want everyone to know that anxiety is a normal thing that can happen to just anyone, as both my colleagues have mentioned. So, it's not only there. Abodam or so soon be real. It's a normal thing that can happen to anyone. So whenever you notice that someone is going through that, or you yourself, you notice that you are going through this, you can come out and speak with someone. Don't just keep it in you, because the more you keep it in you, the more it becomes very troublesome for you. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. You heard Jesse. Actually, let me also say that half. What you made mention of something. Say half what is half solved.
Helen.
Half
A
problem shared
is half solved.
Is half solved. So let us not keep things that we are going through to ourselves. Certainly, let's find someone that we trust and discuss certain issues that is bothering us with. This is where time will allow us to be with you. You heard Jesse Larry Kobner. He's a clinical psychologist. Helen Sowa, also clinical psychologist, and Dave Davies, also health educator, all from Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Thanks for watching. Thanks to all the crew. My name is Kojo. At the same time next week. Good night.
Sorry. Text by hieroglyphic. You can see. At the time of Justinian, it is very important and famous emperor in the Roman time. He gave an order to change all the upper Egyptian temple to be a church. You will find here the cross.
That's a Roman cross. So now just stepping into the column hall of the temple. But something else that's interesting is that this temple was then converted into a number of churches, and there's evidence of that. You can see Greek crosses, Roman crosses within the temple, within the walls and the columns. And walking on the inside of the temple, it's just incredible detail. All the different etchings and writings on the walls. Something else I was reading is that this was one of the last temples to actually use hieroglyphics. This is the god of the Nile, and you can see from the big belly, because it's full of water.